Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for everybody's favorite segment of the week, the Best Bets Show. I got all my bets locked in for UFC Edmonton. I chose 3 to share with you throughout this video on top of the DFS plays that I'm going to tell you right now. I feel great about it. We picked our spots. I love the spots. I'll share those with you throughout the video as well. And I will let you know where you can get all of my bets in this video absolutely free. Before we hop into this week's bets, let's take a look at last week. If you tailed the bets on the Best Bet Show last week, you made some coin. We hit the over 2.5 parlay, 1.5 units of net profit there. We cashed Abus Magomedov on the money line for a 2-unit play, and we also cashed the over 2.5 in the Rebecca and Oralby fight. That was a sweat, but it was destined to go to a decision. Also cashed Mateusz Rambecki by decision plus 600 in the Homo Fight Picks winnable. Sorry, I'm tripping up on my words because I'm zinned out right now. I got a zinner in the top shelf, and sometimes the saliva just gets a little bit crazy. So bear with me there. The Best Bets record is now in the green because last week we had a nice little week right there, plus 3.97 units. 3 winning weeks in a row. So let's try to make it 4. And I feel pretty good about it, boys. I feel pretty good. Like I said, 3 bets. We'll start it off with a Moneyline Bet. Now, normally we'll start it off with a parlay, but the parlay that I put out to the premium members, I only have one parlay this week. The parlay I put out to the premium members, I put in on like Sunday morning. And since then, the odds have just shifted pretty wide. And I don't want to give you the odds that I got because wouldn't be able to like track it correctly, because the odds have shifted and it's not really worth it for me to give it out, because if I track that as the Best Bets record, it would be different for you guys. So I always try to give you bets with the odds that you can still get right now. And you could currently get Rose Namajunas at least plus 110, somewhere plus 115, plus 120, but I got her at plus 110, and I'm putting a unit on her. Reason being, I'm not a huge believer in Erin Blanchfield. I cashed big her last fight on Manon Fiorot. Had her on the money line, had her by decision at plus 350. I'm just not a huge believer in Erin Blanchfield if they're going to continue to give us plus money on these very solid fighters against Erin Blanchfield. Look, she's young. She's still improving. She's got a long way to go, and I think she can get there. But that last fight wasn't even a year ago. How could she have shorn up her striking to the point where she's going to be able to match what Rose Namajunas is going to bring her on the feet? Now, I get it. Erin Blanchfield wants to get the fight to the ground, and that's cool. But her wrestling isn't really that great. Rose's takedown defense isn't amazing, but she has a very solid ground game. She has great jiu-jitsu. I think she has a great ability to get back to her feet. So over the course of 5 rounds, Rose Namajunas, very high level experience. She's fought the who's who. I'm getting plus money on her. I have to throw a unit on it. Rose Namajunas on the money line, plus 110, 1 unit. Lock it in. From here, we'll move on to the Underdog Fantasy Plays. If you're in one of these highlighted states, you're eligible to play. So you download the app. There's a link down in the description. Use my code HeyJai for a deposit bonus up to $1,000. Year to date, we're positive 50 units. 2 weeks ago, we hit the 5-legger. I feel pretty good about the 5-legger again this week. I mean, the spots that we got, I loved. I loved them so much, and I'm going to show them to you right here. So once you download the app, use my code and get that deposit bonus, lock these plays in. You basically can lock them in for free. If you get that deposit bonus big enough, put those plays in for free. The 20Xer this week is Victor Henry, higher on significant strikes. The dude can land 100+ easily in this matchup because Charles Jourdain, not really a guy that's going to shoot a lot of takedowns. Victor Henry, volume machine, lands over 8 significant strikes per minute. Charles Jourdain gets hit with over 5 significant strikes per minute. He should be able to rack him up in this matchup. Brendan Sinabero, lower on significant strikes. The guy is kill or be killed very early. I don't think he's going to be landing a ton of volume on Machado. He's going to sit down on his punches. He can get taken down. He could take Machado down. I don't think this fight plays out on the feet where it's just back and forth striking type of battle. One guy's going to go down. And it's probably going to be Ribeiro. Could be Machado himself because Ribeiro is very dangerous, but I don't think Ribeiro is going to rack him up. So lower on significant strikes for him. Jack Shore, lower on 52.5 significant strikes. As you can see, these are, pretty identical right here. We got better lines on this because we got it earlier in the week. Just put this in last night, so we got to drop a couple. But Jack Shore, lower on significant strikes. Eustace Law, one of the best striking defenses in UFC history, 66%. The dude gets hit with less than 2 significant strikes per minute. Jack Shore is not a high-volume guy. He's a solid boxer, but he's not going to be out there chopping leg kicks, racking up the volume. No opponent of Yusuf Zalal has landed more than 41 significant strikes in a fight. This is a great number. Lower than 55.5, lower than 52.5, lower than 50.5. I'd probably cut it off at like 45.5, but lower than 50 is amazing right there for Jack Shore. Ayman Zahabi, higher than 57.5 significant strikes. Now, this is going to be heavily because of Pedro Munoz. Pedro Munoz is very hittable on the feet. He's short, stubby arms. He has to close distance to land his strikes, and when he does, he gets hit a lot. Munoz is also very, very durable, never been finished. And I think Zahabi is going to be in a fight where it's on the feet and it's going to be pretty high volume. Munoz is going to be trying to close the distance, pushing the pace. Zahabi should be able to get 70+ in this matchup. He got 70+ on Basharat, who's actually very hard to hit. Munoz much easier to hit. So I think Zahabi goes higher there. Chad and Hellinger, lower than 50.5 significant strikes. I see Cody Gibson looking for some takedowns in this matchup. Chad and Hellinger, very, very poor takedown defense. Cody Gibson, very solid wrestler, solid grappler. I think he's going to try to impose his will, being the bigger guy, and try to take this fight to the ground, where Chad and Hellinger's been submitted multiple times. I think that's probably the path where he sees least resistance. Chad's not a bad striker, but he's also very short arms. He's going to have a massive reach disadvantage in this fight. Give me lower than 50.5 on Chad and Hellinger. We talked about this one. Charles Jourdain, higher on significant strikes. Same thing as with Victor Henry. I think it's going to be a high-paced striking affair, and same with Munoz. I think it's going to be a high-paced striking affair in that matchup as well. These two-leggers are 3x, and then this is a nice little rivals payout here, 3x. Victor Henry plus 2.5. So what that means is at the end of the fight, when you look at the stats, you add 2.5 to Victor Henry, and if he lands more than Charles Jourdain, then we win. Now, Victor Henry lands over 8 significant strikes per minute. Charles Jourdain lands, I think, a little under 6. So we should be able to get plus 2.5 there. I think he should be, that basically means plus 2.5 means he's the underdog as far as significant strike count goes. And I think he should be favored. So plus 2.5 there. It's in the rivals section. And then we get an even money on Yusuf Zalal. So basically it's at 0. Whoever outstrikes in this matchup, we're taking Yusuf Zalal to outstrike Jack Shore in this matchup. If he does, we win. Rival section, plus 2.5 on Henry and even on Zalal. 3x payout right there. Once again, all these plays, you can put them in on the Underdog app. Link down in the description. Use the code AJI for your deposit bonus and put these plays in. Now I'll move on to a round prop. I'm going over 2.5 rounds in the Marc-Andre Barriault versus Dustin Stoltzfus fight. It's at minus 130. I'm putting 1.5 units on it. Marc-Andre is a guy that likes to wear you down. He's not a big power puncher. And when he gets finished, it's usually early on against these big power punchers like a Joe Pyfer. Dustin Stoltzfus is not that guy. Dustin Stoltzfus is actually very, very durable. The only times he's been knocked out was 2 spinning back elbows to Bruno Ferreira. 2 of them. And a front kick to the face by Abus Magomedov. Okay, I don't think Marc-Andre Barriault is going to finish him unless it's later in the fight. And even then, Stoltzfus has been to many decisions in his career. I think he's tough enough to hold on. And if anything, I think Dustin Stoltzfus will probably have some wrestling success early on in the fight that won't allow Marc-Andre to get into the rhythm to where he can finish the fight in the second or the third round. So I probably see this fight going to a decision. I like the over 2.5, though. I like it at the odds, minus 130. It's very fair. 1.5 units on that. Lock it in. All right, so if you want all my bets, you jump in the Home of Fight Picks winnable. Use code Canada code Canada at checkout will get you a 5-day free trial. It's where you're going to get all my bets for this card. They'll get sent directly to your phone through the Winnable, not an app, but through Winnable. It'll send you a text. Click on the link. It'll open the page. You can see all my bets there. On the year, for sportsbook bets, we're positive 45.62 units. That means straight bets, parlays, props, all that. Daily fantasy, we're positive 50.52 units. And the daily fantasy, as you saw before, the lines will move. I send those out to the members as soon as I put them in so you can get the best lines. And that is huge with the Winnable app, getting that text to your phone so you don't miss out on any of those lines. So on the year, we're positive over 96 units. Trying to get that 100-unit mark this weekend. Hopefully we can do that. There's a link down in the description to join the Homo Fight Picks Winnable. Once again, use code Canada for a 5-day free trial. You can get all my bets for this card absolutely free. From there, we'll move on to the Betr Picks. The Betr Picks app is available in all these purple states. So if you're in one of these purple states, I highly suggest you download the app. There's a link down in the description for that. Use the code HAJOB for a deposit bonus up to $250. And you can put these plays in for free. The 8-legger, $50 to win $5,000. I feel pretty good about this one too because the spots that I chose, I really, really like. And Hellinger, under, we already talked about that. Armfield, higher on significant strikes. I think Armfield lands over 5.5 significant strikes per minute. Serhi City, very hittable. If you watch his fight with Ramon Tavares, he's very hittable. He's trying to walk you down and trying to pressure you. I think they're going to be striking it out for a majority of the fight. I don't think Serhi City has the greatest grappling game, and I think Armfield has really shored up some of that takedown defense. Yes, he's going to get taken down by Brady Heastan. Brady Heastan is a relentless wrestler. Serhi City's not a relentless wrestler. He's more of a stand-up striker who has an ability to get a takedown, but I just don't see him wet blanketed Garrett Armfield. And Armfield, I think, landed over 40 or 50 significant strikes in that fight with Heastan. Very high volume on the feet. Got great boxing, great jab. He'll be able to rack him up. Shore, under, already talked about that. Victor Henry, under, over, already talked about that. Zahabi, over, already talked about that. Hiberio, under, already talked about that. We're going to take Nascimento under on significant strikes here. Reason being, I think Romanov will probably get takedowns early. But once he does, Nascimento will probably be able to take over and find a TKO. So the fight could end early with a Romanov finish or even a Nascimento finish. But I just don't see a world where Romanov is just going to stand there and get hit. If he's gonna get hit on the feet, he's probably going to crumble. But other than that, it's probably going to play out on the ground for a majority of it. Higher on significant strikes for Ariane De Silva. Jasmine, very hittable on the feet. And I don't know that she's going to have a ton of success just holding down Ariane De Silva. I think the fight will play out on the feet for at least half, if not more, of the 15 minutes that it's going to go. And I think she can land higher than 45.5 significant strikes there. So that's the 8-legger, $50 pays $5,000. That's a 100x multiplier. You can win up to 1,000x on Betr Picks. There's no other app that allows that. So that is a big thing to, if you want to win big, got to be playing on Betr Picks. 2-leggers here, and Hellinger and Armfield, 3x right there, and Henry and Zahabi, 3x right there. So I love this play. This is probably my favorite play of the week, and I like this play as well. And Hellinger lower, Armfield. So once again, link down in the description. Lock these plays in, boys. We're gonna have a great week on DFS. I love the spots. And I think we cash a lot of slips. Didn't force anything. I usually do 6. I only did 5 this week of the 2-leggers, so I like it. Prop bet. We're going Cody Gibson by sub. It's plus 450 odds. And I kind of expected it to be more like plus 300. But I think the reason that it is plus 450 is that the over is like minus 200 or something. Over 2.5 is about minus 200 or something. Cody Gibson is about a 2-to-1 favorite. I think if he does get it done inside the distance, it's going to be a submission. Chad Hellinger has been submitted 6 times in his career. He doesn't have good takedown defense. I think Cody Gibson does look to wrestle in this fight. And if he does get it there, he can finish a lot of submissions. We saw him finish an arm triangle. He can get a rear naked choke. He can get a triangle choke. He can do anything on the ground. He's a very solid grappler, very underrated grappler. And I think if the opportunity presents itself on the ground, he could lock up a submission. So at plus 450 odds, I'm throwing a quarter of a unit on that. I think it's a great bet. And if Cody Gibson comes into this fight with the game plan I expect him to, I think we're going to have a lot of opportunities. Lock it in, Cody Gibson sub. And lastly, you can join the free Telegram channel. There's a link down in the description to do that. I throw all the DFS plays in the free Telegram. I'll throw some long shot plays in there as well. And any of the IG Live parlays that we cook up, I always put them in there. We'll throw a couple NFL plays in there as well. So link down in the description for that. Other than that, appreciate you for joining. Let me know your bets for this card down in the comments. Like and subscribe for me. And we'll be cashing some tickets, hopefully. Try to go 4 weeks in a row with the Best Bet Show in the profit. Till next time, AJ Picks.